Alright, so we're going to talk about reflections. Reflections are a flip over a line called the line of reflection. Each point in its image are the same distance from the line of reflection. A reflection is also an example of a rigid motion. So a translation that we did before is a rigid motion, and so is this. So you can reflect in the x-axis or the y-axis. You can reflect over horizontal and vertical lines, like x equals a number and y equals a number. We won't be doing these. And diagonal lines of y equals x or y equals negative x. Okay? So when we're reflecting over the x and the y-axis, there's certain rules, and actually all these have rules. So the x-axis has a rule. We take the original coordinates, we call those x, y, and we keep x the same, and we make y negative, or the opposite, actually. I want to say the opposite. Okay, so make it opposite sign. So this first one, we have a triangle ABC with the vertices negative 4, 2, 4, 7, and 5, 1. So first let's block that. Negative 4, 2, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 1. Okay, so that's our triangle. Okay, and then we're going to reflect it over the x-axis. Well, we have to change our points. So y stays the same, or x stays the same, y becomes opposite. Again, x stays the same, y becomes opposite. X stays the same, y becomes opposite. Okay, so now let's do this. Negative 4, negative 2, 4, negative 7, and 5, negative 1. Okay, so I'm just going to shade these. This was my first one, and this is my second one. It's better than labeling them. Okay, so that was a reflection in the x-axis. So if we reflect in the y-axis, our method is we take xy, we make x opposite, but we keep y the same. Okay, so here we've got a rectangle, and so rectangle PQRS, so 1, 2, 2, 5, 8, 3, and 7, 0. There's our rectangle. I'll make it red. And we're going to reflect it in the y-axis. And so what's going to happen is that our x is going to change, our y is going to stay the same. So x becomes opposite. So P, negative 1, 2. Q, negative 2, 5. R, negative 8, 3. S, negative 7, 0. So here we go. Negative 1, 2. Negative 2, 5. Negative 8, 3. And negative 7, 0. So there's my new one. So we just reflected it in the x-axis. Alright? Okay. So now our other reflection is going to be the x, or y equals x and y equals negative x. So let me show you real quick. Y equals x is this line. Okay. So y equals 1x plus 0. And y equals negative x is this guy. Okay. Alright. If we do reflection in y equals x, oh, I don't have any more paper. I have to go to the next slide. I'm sorry. I'm going to do y equals x. Yes. Okay, so I've got 1, negative 1, 2, 3, and 3, negative 2, and 3, negative is we're going to flip this square over y equals negative x. So 0, 3, 0, 3, 5, 4, and negative 6. Oh, one negative. I want to make sure I did these in order. I did. All right. So this first one, I think it says. So my originals are 1, negative 1, 3, and 2. Okay. So what I'm going to do with these, the rule for y equals x is, so the y equals x rule, and you don't have to memorize these. We'll give them to you on the test. So the rule for y equals x is your x and your y, they just switch. Okay, so we just switch them around to get our new points. So j was 1, negative 1, so we do negative 1, 1. And then k would be 3, 2. And then L would be negative 2, 3. So I just switched them around. Okay, so let's graph our original one. So 1, negative 1, 2, 3, and 3, negative 2. Okay, so there's that one. And then my new one is negative 1, 1. Alright, we're going to do the other one in blue, the prime. So negative 1, 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's okay that it's kind of overlapping because it's flipping across this line. So that would make sense that that one goes there. Okay. And then the last one is negative 2, 3. Okay. And that's wrong. I did negative 2, negative 3. So negative 2, 1, 2, 3. There you go. Alright. So our points on the last page are wrong. I realize they don't make a square. So I'm going to make my own points here. So I'm going to let R be 1, 3. And we're going to let S be 3, 3. And then we're going to let T be 1, 1. And we're going to let U be 3, 1. So ignore the points on the other page. Okay. Alright, so there's my square. And we're going to reflect it across y equals negative x. Well, to do this, our original points are, hold on, 3, 1. There we go. We take our original xy points, and what we do is not only do we switch them, but then we also negate them. So it's a lot like the other one, right? So our r prime would be negative 3, negative 1. Our s prime would be negative 3, negative 3. Our t would be negative 1, negative 1. And our u would be negative 1, 3. Negative 1, negative 3. So here we go. Negative 3, negative 1. Negative 1, negative 1. Negative 3, negative 3. And negative 1, negative 3. Okay, so that's the reflection. Alright, so last one is identifying the line of reflection. So we kind of just want to see where it's flipped across. So it's easy to just go ahead and find like the midpoint. So if you find the midpoint, that's the line. So the midpoint between k and k prime on this first one, because that's 3 away, that's 3 away is this. And so it has to be reflected across the y-axis. Okay, now this one is sideways, right? So when it's sideways or diagonal, the easiest way to see this is that it's going to have to be equals y equals x and y equals negative x. That has a negative slope, so that's y equals negative x. All right. Okay, this one, let's find the midpoint between the two, and that would be it. And this is a line we didn't flip over, but you should know your horizontal and vertical lines. So this is a horizontal line, and that's going to be y equals 1. And then I told you when it's diagonal, it's either y equals negative x or y equals x. So this one is just y equals x, okay, which is a line. All right, that's it.